In today's class, we will solve a few more problem sums based on number system which are of level 2. The first one says to find the least 3-digit number which when divided by 20, 30, 40 and 50 leaves a remainder 10 in each case. Now suppose if the problem was like we need to find the least 3-digit number when divided by these same four given numbers, and this time they don't leave any remainder. So what would have been our approach? We would have found the common multiple of 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Because if it is a multiple of 20, then only that number will be completely divisible by 20. At the same time, if it is a multiple of 30, then it will be completely divisible by 30. And if the case is like the number is completely divisible by all these four given numbers, then that number has to be a common multiple of all these four given numbers. And since we are focusing on to find least 3-digit number, so this time we will find minimum or least common multiple. Now this was the case when there was no remainder. Now if we come back to the real problem where we have remainder which is 10, then we need to go for one more step. Like after finding that LCM, we will add this remainder value which is 10. Then only that number will be the number which we are trying to find, which is not divisible by all these given numbers, and they will leave a remainder 10. So the LCM will be 600 and the least 3-digit number which we want to find will be 600 plus 10 means 610. So as per this question, the number will be 610. Now if we divide 610 by 20, then the quotient will be 30 and the remainder will be 10. Now if we divide 610 by 30, the quotient will be 20 and the remainder will be 10. And the same will be applicable for 40 and 50 also. For both of them, the remainder will be 10. The next problem sum says that in a class there are 72 boys and 64 girls. If the class is to be divided into the least number of groups such that each group contains either only boys or only girls, then how many groups will be formed? Now there are few key points, like in that class there are 72 boys, 64 girls. So this is the one of the information that we need to note. Then the class is to be divided into the least number of groups. So least number of groups, and the information which is not given directly here, that in each group there will be same number of boys and girls, that we have to assume. And the one more information which is given, that the group will be either of the boys or of the girls. In a group there will be, is not like there will be boys as well as girls. So if we go by all this information which we are getting from this question, then one thing is clear, that how many groups will be formed that we will find, but in each group there will be either boys and girls, and in each group there will be same number of boys and girls. So that number should divide 72 and 64 completely, and it should not leave any remainder. That means that number should be a factor or divisor of 72 as well as 64. That means that number should be a common factor or common divisor of 72 and 64. And this time we are focusing to form least number of groups. So if it is least number of groups, then we will try to adjust or fit more number of boys or girls in a group. So that factor by which we are dividing 72 and 64, that should be a highest common factor, or we can say greatest common divisor. So to solve this type of problem, what we will do, the main concept is HCF. So HCF of 72 and 64 is 8. Now 8 is the number of boys or girls in a group. And here the question is how many such groups we can form. So 72 boys if we have, and in each group if we have 8 boys, then of the boys there will be 9 groups. And if we have 64 girls and in each group if we have 8 girls, then we will have 8 such groups of the girls. So in total there will be 9 plus 8 or 17 groups, where in each group we will have either 8 boys or 8 girls. Now the next problem sum says that two bells toll at intervals of 120 second and 180 second. So first bell tolls at 120 second at that gap or that interval, and the second bell tolls one at the gap or at the interval of 180 second respectively. And if they toll together at 12 noon, then what is the earliest time at which they will again toll together? So earliest time after 12, we have to find earliest time when they will toll again together. So after 12, after 120 second, the first bell will toll again, but till that time also the second bell will not toll, as it needs 180 second. At that interval it tolls. And after 240 second, the first bell will toll twice, and by that time the second bell will toll once. And after 360 seconds, the first bell will toll 120, then 120, then 120, so thrice. And at that point of time, after 360 seconds, after 12 noon, the second bell will toll twice, because for the first time when it will toll after 12, it will take 180 second and 180 and one more 180, so 360. So second bell will toll twice. That means what we can see here, that after 360 seconds, the first bell will toll thrice and the second bell will toll twice. And how we are getting this value 360? If we do the LCM between 120 and 180, then we will be getting that value 360. And that is obvious, because we are trying to find a value which will be a multiple of 120 as well as 180, because they both the bells need to toll at the same time. So that time should be a multiple of their intervals, which is 120 and 180 second. And since we need to find the earliest time after 12 means, so that has to be least common multiple, and that's why I have done LCM on 120 and 180 second. So after 12 noon, the time interval will be 360 second when they will toll together, and 360 second means 360 divided by 60, so it will be 6 minutes, and that means the time we need to find, so it will be 12:06 p.m. Now the next one says that find the divisor given that the dividend is 2200, remainder is 13, and the divisor is 1/3 of the quotient. That means by that divisor, whose value we don't know, if we divide 2200, then there will be 13 remainder. That means it is not a completely divisible by the divisor. So if we subtract that remainder from that given dividend, then the number that we will be getting will be completely divisible by the divisor that we are going to find. So that dividend value will be 2187. So that number, when we will divide by our divisor, then it will be completely divisible. And there is one more relationship between divisor and the quotient. Divisor is 1/3 of the quotient. So quotient, which we don't know the value, if we assume that that value is x, then divisor is 1/3 of the quotient. So divisor will be 1/3 of the quotient. Now we know that when we multiply divisor and quotient, then that basically gives us dividend if it is completely divisible. So it will be 2187, because if suppose we have 12 and if we divide by 6, then quotient will be 2, so 6 2s are 12. If suppose we have 27 and if we divide by 3, then it will be 9. That means 3 9s are 27. So if we now simplify this relationship, where x squared divided by 3 will be 2187, then we will be finding the value of x. So this value will be 6561, and from this relationship, if we find x, then that value will be 81. So 81, what is x? X was our quotient, but what we need to find is divisor. And what is the relationship between divisor and quotient? Divisor is 1/3 of the quotient. So divisor will be 81 divided by 3, which is 27. Now the next one says a certain number of men went to a hotel. Each man spent as many rupees as one-fourth of the men. If the total bill paid was rupees 20,449, then how many men visited that hotel? So here we don't know that how many men visited that hotel, that we will assume as X, unknown variable. So number of men visited that hotel is X, and each man spent as many rupees as one-fourth of the men. So each man, how much he spent? One-fourth of the men, one-fourth of the total number of men. So if the total number of men is X, that means X by 4, that was the amount which was spent by each man. So the total amount will be then how much? X number of men, and each man spent X by 4 that much rupees. So then in total it will be 20,449. So this will be our equation, and we need to simplify this. So yeah, the value of x square is 81,796, and value of x after simplifying will be 286. So that is the total number of men visited that hotel. Now the next one and the last one is we need to simplify this expression or multiplication where we are multiplying three terms and each term is a cube root of some value. So since in each term it is cube root of some value, so we can take that cube root as the common operation of all these terms, and first we can multiply all these three terms and then we can take the cube root of that multiplication result. And to simplify this, we can further factorize each of the terms. So here I have factorized all these values 288, 432 and 648, and I have written in there in terms of their factors. So here what we can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 too. So when it will come out of that cube root, then we will have 4, 2. Similarly, we will here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. So when it will come out of the cube root, we will have 3, 3. And when we will multiply all these values, it will be 2, 2s are 4, 8, 16. And from here it will be 27. And finally that value will be 4, 3, 2. So I hope this class was helpful for you. With that hope, I end today's class. Thank you.